So before I begin, I just want to give a very quick background. My very first video on this channel was me talking about a similar topic, about how much I liked the older aesthetics of Tekken. That video ended up doing pretty well, and that's how a lot of you actually found my channel and subscribed to me. But looking back on it right now, I personally feel like I didn't expand on my points as much as I would have liked to. And not only that, the video felt a bit scattered, unstructured, and it wasn't made like the way I make my videos now. It was my first ever video, I'm sure you can cut me some slack. But here we are 6 months later. I'm more comfortable with making videos now, and I make them in a specific way. So I feel now is the perfect time to revisit this topic because there are a lot more points I want to add that I didn't include in the original video. And I also want to give Tekken Tag enough time in the spotlight by itself. For those of you that have watched the original video, think of this one as a Redux Digital Deluxe Edition HD Remaster Remix. We're not just remaking games anymore, we are out here remaking videos. For those of you that haven't watched the original video, you don't have to. You can stick around for this one because I will echo a lot of similar points from the original. And also, this video won't include me hating on Tekken 8 or modern Tekken in general, even though I'm not a fan of its current direction in terms of aesthetics, character direction and so on. This video will just be me appreciating Tekken Tag and what Tekken used to be in terms of ambience, atmosphere, identity, etc. And you will see exactly what I mean in this video. Call me a nostalgia merchant, I don't care. And also, like the original video, I won't be getting into the gameplay here. We have hundreds of people talking about that already. What we don't have is enough people talking about the things I'm going to be talking about, so stick around for that. And finally, subscribe to your boy if you want to see me talk about other games in a similar way, like my Tenkaichi 2 video. But yeah, let's get into it. Actually, before I really begin, you know I have to play the intro, right? Now let me break the opening video down. There's a reason why I'm doing this, you'll see. We start off with the nightscape being shown to us. I've said this in countless videos, but urban nightscapes are one of my all-time favourite aesthetics. You've got the night sky and the darkened streets, which creates an air of mystery. And then you have all of that being illuminated by the lights and the tall buildings. Combining the two creates this really cool ambience. Like, you feel alone, but you also don't feel alone, if that makes sense. Like there's an air of indifference. I think why I like this aesthetic a lot is because it gives off an emotion that's actually quite difficult to convey. Speaking of feeling alone, we then have Kazuya sitting alone by himself on the top floor of a building. I'm assuming it's the Mishima Zaibatsu headquarters. He's dripped out and looking like he's heading somewhere. Before we move into China, where we see Lei Wulong carrying out his usual police work and fighting crime. We then have Brian massacring a bunch of criminals with his own task force. And he's doing all of this with a completely blank expression. After which we have Nina getting all dolled up. We then move on to Jun in this really nice golden field, just taking in the atmosphere before it transitions to Jin, sitting alone by himself looking all melancholic. It then switches back and forth between him and Jun, creating this really nice contrast. Jun is in this really nice field with the sun hitting her perfectly, while Jin is in a place that looks completely washed out and destroyed. Maybe it's the same field a few years into the future. We then return to Kazuya, who's walking with all the aura in the world. It's one of my favourite shots in the entire series, before he taps into Devil and lets out an energy blast. And then we get the title screen. An amazing intro that's still my favourite in the series. Tekken 2 is really close, however. But yeah, there's a reason why I walked you through the opening, despite you seeing it yourself just now. Notice how nobody in this video is doing anything crazy. Everything is very subdued. We are just seeing the characters in different parts of their everyday lives. Despite that, there's still so much personality in each scene. You can tell exactly the type of character they all are, and they're not even doing anything. And that's what I love, whether it's Nina applying her makeup, or whether it's Kazuya walking in the rooftop. Everything is just oozing with style and class. The whole aesthetic actually reminds me of the Gen X soft club aesthetic, where there's a blend between the whole Y2K futuristic digital style, but at the same time there's a minimalistic touch to everything. I usually like to describe this aesthetic in one sentence: the future that never arrived. And I think Tekken Tag perfectly embodies that vibe. There's a mysterious air to everything, and a subdued nature creates an intrigue behind the characters simply because they're not doing anything crazy. That's what makes it really cool, and I feel Tekken has drifted away from that direction. They're actually doing the opposite now, where they're trying to be as flashing and imposing as they can be. In my opinion, less is more, but what do I know? But back to the Tekken Tag opening. Everything I spoke about in terms of what I liked about the opening, the subdued nature, the mystery and intrigue. I want you all to keep that in mind when I play the arcade opening. Again, was anyone doing anything crazy here? No, right? Let me break it down. We first have Jin walking through an alleyway wearing a button-down shirt, looking like he's on the run from the Mishima Zaibatsu. We have Heihachi walking with his guards before we have Paul walking through the streets. We then have Jun once again taking in the atmosphere before we have Nina waking up from cryosleep. We move on to Lei looking cool as fuck, reloading his gun and doing his acrobatics. Before we have what is one of the coolest shots in the entire Tekken series, Lee Chaolon driving his Honda S2000 through the highway at night. And then we finish off with Kazuya facing the camera, hitting a similar pose to the power cover of Tekken Tag. And all of this is topped off by this amazing and atmospheric techno track playing, with all of these cool effects going on. It's so fucking good, and both this and the console opening are one of my favourite openings in all of gaming, not just Tekken. I just love how there's a focus on the streets, the alleyways, the cars, the highways. It's just so stylish, and they nailed the urban aesthetic going on in this game. What I love about Tekken Tag and the older Tekken in general is that everything felt more grounded and real. Let me hold up for a second. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I just said the word grounded and real when Devil Kazuya is a thing. Well, that's another thing I want to talk about. The supernatural elements of Tekken felt a lot more grounded in reality. Back then, Devil Kazuya felt a lot more hidden and restrained. I said this in my original video, but in Tekken 2, you fight him in this pitch black room with nothing but this huge mirror. On a side note, the loading screen when fighting Devil Kazuya scared the living shit out of me when I was a child. In the Tekken Tag opening, Kazuya goes to the rooftop away from public eye before channeling into Devil. I also said this in my original video, but back then Devil Kazuya was treated as something that none of us should be seeing. It felt forbidden. which made it even more alluring to me. And I'm not just talking out of my arse here, I've got proof that this was the intention here. Look at this promotional poster for Tekken Tag. You've got Kazuya hitting the same pose as the power cover of the game, you've got the nightscape in the background as I described earlier in the video, then you've got the camera burn and all the scratch effects. It just looks cool as hell. But I want you to look more closely at the poster, specifically on the left. You can actually see Devil Kazuya on the reflection. Their intention here was to keep Devil as this hidden entity. To me, Devil felt a lot more symbolic back then. It felt less like a being and genetic mutation, and more about the darker side of Kazuya and his inner conflict. Case in point, the Tekken 2 opening. One of the best openings in gaming, but I want to focus on the end of the video where it shows Kazuya being held by Angel, while his eyes turn red. Devil isn't being shown here in a physical sense, which makes him feel more like an implication to me. Kazuya's eyes turning red is subtle, but it implies that there's something more going on within him. I don't know, it just felt like the character direction was a lot more nuanced and layered compared to what we have going on now. But moving on, I want to talk about another argument that could come up when mentioning how Tekken used to be more grounded in reality. You might ask the question, how was Tekken more grounded back in the day when you have a cybernetic alien/human hybrid that's wielding a katana, a kangaroo that can box, and a literal cyborg? Well, it's simple. They were complementary to Tekken. They weren't imposing in any way, they were just there as a complementary side dish. Their gameplay is still rooted within the core mechanics of Tekken. The best comparison I can make is with the Yakuza games. Those games have a bunch of wacky and crazy shit going on, but they make it very clear that you will only come across the crazy stuff during the side content, while the main story maintains its gritty, dark, violent and cinematic image. There is a clear distinction between the two sides of Yakuza, and that is to ensure that both sides don't bleed into each other, and I feel Tekken was the exact same in the past. Nowadays, however, everything has started to bleed into each other in terms of the wackiness, the over-exaggeration, and I feel like that is leading to a loss of focus and identity. But before I get into the identity, I want to first talk about the music. You know I have to talk about the music, right? Tekken Tag might have my favourite soundtrack in the entire franchise, and the music here complements the ambience extremely well. While the music still hits and it's bouncy as fuck, it's a lot more down-tempo, and that's a good thing. It gives the music more time to breathe and really lets the atmosphere set in. It feels more bass-heavy and more techno and trance-like something you would hear in an underground club. You know what? I've been yapping long enough. Black out the screen and let me say the words. Tekken Tag Tournament. Activate the vibes.
No eye, no ear, no nose, no hand, no body, no eye, no shake, no shake, no eye, no ear, no nose, no hand, no body, no eye, no shake, no shake, no eye, no ear, no nose, no hand, no body, no eye, no shake, no shake, no eye, no ear, no nose, no hand, no body, no eye, no shake, no shake.
That's what I'm talking about. You know what? I'm not done. Black out the screen again. Tekken Tag Tournament. Activate the vibes. Again. Honestly, the soundtrack is so good, I could have played every single song here. Like Zhou Yu's stage where you've got this really funky track. You've got Lei's track, which is actually one of my favourites. I really like how they took his stage from Tekken 3 and changed it to Nightfall. With the enhancements of the PlayStation 2, the stage just looks amazing and might be my favourite in the game. You've then got Ogre's track, which is fucking amazing. It maintains the core down-tempo sound, but it incorporates violins, pianos and eerie synths, giving it a symphonic sound while still being bouncy as fuck. The theme perfectly fits the stage. You're fighting in these Aztec ruins, which is basically Ogre's stage in Tekken 3, facing off against your biggest rivals, and all you can hear are the punches and grunts echoing through the stage. It's just so perfect, and this stage left a mark on me when I first played it. Finally, you've got Unknown stage. Fucking amazing. You've got this track that sounds unlike the other tracks in the game. The drums hit so hard and it's abstract and alien as fuck, which mirrors Unknown as a character. You've got this woman being possessed by an evil wolf spirit with this tar-like substance attached to her body. And the stage looks like some ancient temple, so you know some forbidden shit was going on here. It's giving off a folklore horror type of vibe. I know she is non-canon, but Unknown does bear a resemblance to Jun. I read somewhere that she was supposed to be Jun's sister. Maybe they had something planned before scrapping it. But yeah, Unknown is unlike any of the other fighters in Tekken Tag. And it works in this case because she's the final boss. She's not just a regular fighter. I also really liked her ending movie, which showed her fighting the evil spirit and breaking free from its possession. Now let's move on to the identity of Tekken. I've mentioned it a few times now, so let's actually get into it. What do I mean when I say that Tekken used to have an identity? Well, it's simple. If somebody was to come up to me and ask the question, what is Tekken? I would show them this. To me, the MBU perfectly encapsulates what Tekken was about, and what it should still be about, and it's exactly what I mean when I refer to the identity of Tekken. You've got all the characters showing off their fighting styles. You've got Jin performing the Teki Shodan Kata, which in simple terms is a karate demonstration. You've got Zhou Yu showing off her fighting style too, as well as Hwoarang, Eddie, Paul and Jun, and in between they're all showing a bit of personality too with their taunting and posing. On top of all of that, you have the overcast sky, which sets the tone perfectly, and the amazing music, giving everything a really nice ambience. But yeah, why I like this so much is because there's an emphasis on the martial arts and the characters showcasing their moveset first and foremost. Tekken is a fighting game after all, and I feel like that focus has faded with the current Tekken games. I don't want to sound like a boomer here, I'm not even that old, but I honestly wouldn't be able to tell you what Tekken 8 is going for in terms of its aesthetics and vibe. I think the Tekken team need to go back to the drawing board in terms of portraying what Tekken is supposed to be. I'm not asking them to do a carbon copy of Tekken 3, Tekken Tag or Tekken 4's aesthetics, but it wouldn't hurt to take some inspiration from the past in order to carve out the future. It's very important to establish a distinct atmosphere and vibe to a game, because it will stick with players a lot more. Like, look at the new Virtua Fighter Crossroads for example. Sega and RGG immediately realised how important it is to know a specific vibe to a game, and they managed it amazingly well. Within the first 5 seconds of the trailer, I was able to figure out exactly what they were going for. They're going for an exotic and urban vibe. There's a focus on the streets, the back alley brawls, the rooftop fights, the underground fights, and there's some involvement with the criminal underworld. So from that, I can immediately say that they're going for a gritty, urban, and grounded aesthetic. Does that sound familiar? And I also appreciate them showing respect to their past. That one sequence from the trailer where you have the fighters coming to life and going up against Cielo just hit me in a different way. But yeah, honestly, I don't think it would be too far-fetched for Tekken to return to their old aesthetic because, as you might have noticed already, there has actually been a resurgence of the whole Y2K soft club aesthetic. So I don't see why that can't be reflected in gaming as well. Either way, Tekken team, if you need some help in figuring out the future direction of Tekken's aesthetics, hit your boy up. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and before some of you come in here and say, if you like the older Tekken so much, then just go and play them. That's exactly what I do, and that's exactly what led me to making this video, because those games are still really fucking good, and I want to keep appreciating them because I know Tekken can be so much more than it is right now. But yeah, thank you for watching, feel free to subscribe, I'll catch you later.